in Nigeria.
Right.
Thousands
Good
and
morning, everyone.
thousands of
Morning, morning, morning. It's been one of those mornings. I've been trying to sort out loads of videos because there's so much to get through this morning. So apologies for coming on a little bit late and a little bit disorganized. But the main thing is I'm here now. I just want to start with a Bible verse, and just give me 2 seconds. Technology is great when it all works, guys, eh? Right. I want to start with the Bible verse because I think with what's going on at the minute, there's a lot of people are feeling depressed, and it is totally understandable. And to be honest with you, there's times, when doesn't matter what's going on, nothing can knock me, nothing can, lay a glove on me. And then there's other times when everything just hits you at the same time, and it's extremely difficult to get to sleep, to get up in the morning, and so on and so forth. Everybody gets it. Now, if you get it all the time, obviously that's a different matter. But as Christians, like I've said so many times before, we're in a battle. This is a spiritual war that we're in, an absolute spiritual war. And I think we've got to understand that. So this Bible verse I want to give you this morning, it's a very, very short verse. It's from reading it from the NIV. It's Psalm 34:18, and this is what it says: "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." I'll read that again. "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those that are crushed in spirit." And I think that is a great verse for every single person that's ever suffered in any way, psychologically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. That it's like, I've said this before so many times, it's like what Pastor Joe Beakey preached when he came to our church. He said, if you're a Christian, you always have somewhere to go. Doesn't matter what you've done, doesn't matter how bad things have got, doesn't matter how many people have turned away from you, how many people have turned their backs on you, how many people have stabbed you in the front, back, neck, wherever. I'm talking metaphorically, obviously. God is close to you. God's close to the brokenhearted and loves those who are crushed in spirit. Isn't that an amazing promise from God? That he's got it. He's got your back. No matter, and everybody goes through these things. It's a universal condition. The difference is with a Christian that God's got your back. If you're a Christian, God's going to look after you. And I'm not saying, are you going to church? I'm not saying, have you prayed a prayer? I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is God, the Holy Spirit, living in you? In other words, is the Spirit of God been shed abroad, or has the love of God been shed abroad in your heart by the Holy Spirit? You know Christ, and Christ knows you. No matter how imperfect a Christian you are, no matter how many times we've messed up, is Christ in you the hope of glory? And that's the question. That's the big question. But if you're crushed in spirit, what did Jesus say? Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn from me, for I'm gentle in spirit. I think that's a pretty accurate quote of that verse. It's not bad for this time of the morning. But the point is, we're going to go through some very, very difficult times in the next few weeks, months, and years. People will betray you, abandon you. Like I say, honestly, I'm not going to go into it, but the sense of isolation sometimes is absolutely horrendous for a lot of people that tune into these channels. I know that. I know. I don't know what you're all going through, but I know there's a lot of people that really suffer. Well, I can't be online all the time. The people in the chat can't be there all the time. But you know what? God's there all the time. And God is always there, just waiting to reach down and pick you up. In fact, God doesn't just reach down and pick you up. If you're lying in the gutter, God doesn't just reach down and pick you up out of the gutter. God comes into the gutter with you. Even in your sin, God is with you. He's grieved, he's hurt, but he's still with you. And they're great and precious promises. Rejection is God's protection. Absolutely 100%. You better believe that. And again, you look at the men that God used, every single one of them, the men that God really used were broken. Every single one of them. Apart from Jesus Christ, every single one of them was imperfect. Every single one of them was broken. And God used them despite them. He used them because he said, you know what? I love you and I'm going to use you. And that gives me great comfort because I know my failings. And I'm sure everybody watching this this morning, you know your failings well. Guys, share these videos. You know, one of the things I'm frustrated about, and I don't know whether it's YouTube, maybe it's my content's just not that good, but there should be more people watching these videos because I've got the answers. I'm not the answer, but I've got the answers. God's the answer. Christianity's the answer, but also the political and the cultural strategies that I'm putting forward, I know they'll work. So start sharing these. Do me a favor, guys. If you're in the comments and you like what I do, share it with your friends. Share it on other social media platforms. If you're on X, share it on X. If you're on YouTube, share it on YouTube. And if you're the only one you can't share it with is Facebook, because I'm banned for life. Anyway, that's another story. That's what happens when you hang about with Tommy too much. Anyway, I'm gonna show you a bit of Donald Trump, and then it's going to go downhill from there, right? Donald Trump is going to be the most positive thing you're going to see on this channel. Sorry to say it. He's going to be the most positive thing you're going to see on this channel. Then we're going to look at what's happening in Birmingham and what my take on it is, what we should do, what we shouldn't do, and how worried we should be by this. And I think we should be extremely worried. And I'll go into why when I put the video on. This is connected. What Trump is saying in this video is connected to everything that's going on. Let me know in your comments what you think about the Trump thing. Keep commenting, guys, because I need to know all the technology is working, especially when I'm playing multiple videos. Let me know everything. You can hear everything. Let me know you can see everything clearly. And without further ado, I'll hand you over to the Donald.
Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria. Thousands and thousands of Christians are being killed. Radical Islamists are responsible for this mass slaughter. I am hereby making Nigeria a country of particular concern. That's a legal definition. When the Christians or any such group is slaughtered, like is happening in Nigeria, 3,100 versus 4,476 worldwide. What horrible numbers. Something has to be done. I am asking Congressman Riley Moore, together with Chairman Tom Cole and the House Appropriations Committee, to immediately look into this matter and to report back to me. And I mean, like, immediately. The United States cannot stand by while such atrocities are happening in Nigeria and numerous other countries. It's not only Nigeria, it's all over. We stand ready, willing, and able to save our great Christian population around the world. This is not going to happen. The killing of Christians is not going to happen.
I mean, if every world leader had rhetoric like that and followed through on that rhetoric, the persecution of Christians would stop. And that's why we need Christian politicians, and that's why we need Christians in government. Now, this thing I put up on the screen there. There was a guy in the comments says, "How do I go to heaven?" And the Bible's very, very clear. Believe in the Lord Jesus Christ and you shall be saved. And what does that mean? You believe that Jesus Christ is God. You believe that he lived a perfect sinless life. You believe that he was born of the Virgin Mary. You believe that he died on the cross for your sins personally and for the sins of everybody that gets saved. And also, you believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, and you make Jesus Lord of your life, or Jesus becomes Lord of your life. You hand over control to Jesus. He's taking control anyway, but you can think you're handing over control. You commit your life to Christ and you start living for Christ. And of course you repent, you turn away from sin, you're going in the wrong direction, you turn around, you're going in your own direction, you turn around, you go in the direction Jesus wants you to go in. I hope that makes sense. And I believe that was a sincere question about how you go to heaven. That is, according to the Bible, how you get to heaven. And if it wasn't a sincere question, it doesn't matter, because you've just got a sincere answer. But when you look at what Trump's doing there, Nigeria, the killing fields of Nigeria have gone on since I became a Christian in the mid-90s. Muslims have been killing Christians in Nigeria since the mid-90s. This is nothing new. Sudan, I think there was 1 million Christians killed in Sudan in the 90s. Again, somebody, if anybody's got the stats there, can get the stats, go and Google it, let me know. In when there was the civil war between the Christians in the south of Sudan and the Islamists from the north, I'm nearly sure there was 1 million people killed. Here's some great answers coming through for that question that our friend answered in the chat. And again, don't be afraid to ask questions. Always ask questions about what I'm talking about. You know, check that what I'm saying is true. Don't just believe me. Check out what I'm saying. Make sure it's true, because we can all make mistakes. I'm not going to sincerely. Sorry, any mistake I make will be sincere. I'm not going to deliberately come on here and lie to people. But check out everything I talk about. I want to turn to tonight now, guys. And somebody, Barbara, I think it was before we came on. Barbara said there's riots in Birmingham. So there's been riots in Birmingham last night, and I am worried about Birmingham tonight. Now, here's the thing. If I was in England, I would go to Birmingham tonight. No doubt about it, right? To peacefully protest and support the Jewish people. Do I think that is potentially dangerous? Yes, I do. And if I went to Birmingham tonight, I would be trying my best to live out that Bible verse from, I think it's Romans 12, where it says, wherever possible, or as much as it's possible, or basically as much as you can, live at peace with all men and loving your enemies. Not going there with an aggressive, I'm hyped up, I'm going to stick it on these Islamists attitude, but going there as a genuine Christian with grace and love and peace, and showing the difference between an Islamist mob. And I'm going to play some of the videos I've already played, but I'm not sure if, to be honest with you, I've been looking at these videos that much and they've been winding me up that much. I'm not sure whether I've played them or not. But these are we've got the Islamist Chuckle Brothers from Aston here, right? And a more inbred bunch of weirdos I've never seen in my life. Going to get in a lot of trouble for that, but that's the way I feel about it. These people are dangerous, and I don't like what they're doing. I don't like them. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. I'm extremely concerned about Brum tonight. What we need to do, guys, we need to pray for anybody from our side that's going. I have not been talking to anybody, so I don't know who's going. I don't know what's going on. I've been so busy doing my own stuff. I've no idea who's going there tonight, right? But I would imagine there's going to be patriots going. I know for a fact that Josh Howie from GB News is going, because he's done a video, which I'm going to play later, saying that he's going. So we need to pray for peace tonight. I'm going to play some of these videos. I'll probably not play all of them because some of them are quite long, but I'm going to play them just to see the way that these Islamists have been winding things up.
And Israel, protesters are coming from all over the UK. Peace of November, it's game over for Maccabi Tel Aviv and Israel. Protesters are coming from all over the UK.
I mean, what does he mean? It's game over for Maccabi Tel Aviv and Israel. This is a guy that's gone on Talk TV, and I'll play the clip in a minute, that's saying he's not anti-Semitic, but
peacefully, we're going to protest with our families and let people know the frustration that we have. Israel should not be.
What you'll see later on is that all of these men have been involved in meetings with Islamists, without a shadow of a doubt. They can't deny it. It's undeniable. The guy on the far right is the one that said, we're not here to dick part, we're here to dick over, in his broken English. The guy's born here and he still can't speak proper English.
In FIFA, there's over 30 organizations that are involved, and the numbers are going to be huge.
Absolutely. My message to those right-wing extremists and the barbaric Israeli supporters.
Think about what he's saying there. Right-wing extremists. That rhetoric is straight out of Keir Starmer's mouth. Next time you see a Labour politician talking about our movement, those are the words coming straight out of Keir Starmer's mouth. What we've got to be very careful of tonight, guys, anyone that's going, what we've got to be extremely careful about is not giving them what they want. They want violence. They want a whole lot of lads to turn up and kick off. That must not happen. And guys, if we're Christians tonight, we need to pray that that doesn't happen. It's going to be dark. it's kind of that time of year. You know, when I was a kid in England, we used to have Mischief Night. I can't remember what night Mischief Night was. I think it was Halloween or the day before Bonfire Night, whatever. But there used to be a night when everybody just went mental, and that's in the DNA of Britain. It's just the way it is, and these tramps have taken it over and are taking it to a new level. I'm not about these guys on the screen, the people that were rioting last night in Birmingham. So massive problems already and tensions in Birmingham. I think it's very dangerous going tonight. If I was England, I would go. If I was in England, I would go because I would feel it my duty to go. I'm not in England. I'm in Northern Ireland. But I think you've got to be very careful tonight. Wherever possible, live at peace with all men. As much as you can, turn the other cheek. It's right to protest against these people. It's absolutely right. But what we don't want is us coming across, because you better believe that the media are going to try and make us look like thugs.
Who are supporting Maccabi Tel Aviv, that the city of Birmingham and moreover Aston is the home of lions.
Lions, and we will not just remain silent when genocidal complices
Well, I would say they're not lions. They're more like something else, but we'll not go into that.
come in and play football in our city. Remember that? I heard.
No, son, it's not your city. It doesn't belong to Muslims. It belongs to everybody that lives in that city. In fact, it's a British city. It's an English city. And Aston Villa used to be a Christian football club. The road is called Trinity Road.
All the youth to be peaceful and not to cover their faces.
Do you know what? I can't hear any more of that. I cannot listen to any more of him. I'm just not going to listen to him. Now, this is what was happening last night, or the video got put up last night. A very well produced video as well. Bit of music to it, quite slick. And it's telling, guys, it's telling that these scumbags, and they are scumbags, these people are Islamists. It's as simple as that. These people, like that idiot that I showed you before, they're not here to take part, they're here to take over. These scumbags, look at what it says on some of these posters. Shooting babies in Gaza, playing games in Birmingham. Zionists not welcome. That translates to Jews not welcome. Don't listen to their lies when they're telling you they're not anti-Semitic. And if I get chance, because I know this might go over 8 o'clock today. I don't want it to go too far over 8 o'clock, so I've got the school run to do for the grandkids. But this is absolutely horrific what is going on in our country. And we share this everywhere, guys, because there's going to be a whole lot of people that can't go and see what's going on in Birmingham tonight. There's going to be a whole lot of people that don't get this. Share these videos that I'm doing with your family members that don't believe that we've got a problem in the country. Because I'll tell you now, we do have a problem in the country. We really do have a problem in the country. Okay, I'll keep playing this. Give Zionism the red card. That means destroy Israel. Simple. That you might as well be saying globalize the intifada when you're putting posts like that up. These men are Islamists. They shouldn't be in our country. They can take their Palestinian flags and they can go to the Gaza Strip and see what a welcome they get there. And I don't know if you saw the video I did with Brian London. Again, I'll be honest with you. Brian London did a brilliant interview last night, and the viewing figures were very, very low. And I don't think there's anywhere you would go where you would get deep interviews like Brian gave last night. Nearly 2 hours of interview about exactly what happened in Israel. Absolutely, from an eyewitness that saw everything. And Brian said this, he said, when Tommy went to the Holocaust Museum, I forget the name of it, he was amazed by the way rhetoric had led to the Holocaust and how anti-Semitic rhetoric in all its forms, and it's everywhere. It's on the right, it's on the left, but mostly it's coming from the Islamists, okay? But even people like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens are getting in it. What has happened to those people? I never really liked Tucker anyway. I always thought he was a buffoon. But Candace Owens, well, yeah, she was always a bit weird too. But the reality is, these are people on the right that have massive followings, and they're filled with anti-Semitic bile. It's disgusting. And again, I know a lot of people say in the comments, Richard, Israel has nothing to do with the UK. Well, if you know your Bible and you're a Christian, it has everything to do with me and it has everything to do with you. We're told in the scriptures to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And I'm unapologetic about that. I know all the arguments. I know why some Christians don't agree, but, you know. Sharon, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Keep sharing them. But you get the picture there, guys. If I was an Aston Villa fan, oh man, I know some of the Villa lads, right? I think Big Jim was Villa. I know some of the Villa lads, right? If I was a Villa lad, I would be absolutely seething. But what I'm going to ask everybody to do, if you're from Birmingham and you're a patriot, if you're Jewish and you're going there tonight, guys, please, please don't give them what they want. They want a row. They want trouble. Don't give them it. Don't give them it. Yeah. This is the problem. This is the whole problem. You see, Farage ain't going to deal with this. And the only solution we can take to the streets. And one thing Farage is right about, at the minute, as it stands, if things kicked off, and I've been around this movement, unless I'm completely missing something, there is no way of the right or patriots or the English, the Sikhs, the Hindus, the blacks, any of our diverse ethnic groups, if the Islamists kicked off, it would be extremely difficult for anybody to respond in a cohesive manner. And yeah, I played the video yesterday where that jihadi guy was saying, don't bring guns. And that guy is an Islamist. As far as I know, I think he'd been, I need to be careful, but he is an Islamist, right? So the truth of the matter is, what we need is a government that is willing to take this on head on. And it would mean a massive upheaval. It would mean, yes, draconian laws for some Muslims that are Islamists. 100% it would. 100%. It absolutely needs to happen. And I think the only way we're going to get that is advancing. It seems a crazy long shot. It seems mad now talking about Advance winning an election. And Advance need to come out with the policies. And I know they're working on them. And I know their policies will deal with this. But the reality is, we need a government that will roll its sleeves up and say, we're not having Islamists in this country. We're gonna pass laws. We'll look at what the UAE have done. We'll look at what other countries have done that have dealt with Islamism successfully, and we'll get rid of it. And I'm calling it Islamism for a reason. I think it's just Islam, to be honest with you. I think when you take Islam completely seriously, as Ben Habib said when we were doing the pledge, he got us to change the word Islamism to fundamentalist Islam. And he knows his dad's a Muslim. He's come from Pakistan. He said, look, he said, the problem is when people read that book and believe it. That's the problem with Islam. If you read the Quran and you start believing it and you read the Hadith, that's what happened to that crazy little ginger ninja that decided he'd be a jihadi. Okay. Yeah, everyone's got their heads in the sands. I haven't. I've known about this since 1984. I've been speaking about it since 1998. You know, so I know exactly what we need to do. I just need my voice to be heard by people that will actually listen and do it. It's as simple as that. And I think I'm in a position where that's going to happen, where I've got the ear of the people that are important to, and it's political people that we need to get to. The protests, street protests, you know, as much as I love doing a demo, and I'm already talking to the police with some of Tommy's team about the next demo. Okay, I'm not going to give the date away, obviously, but I'm already talking to the police about it, right? So I love a demo. I think demos are important, but demos ain't going to save the country. Going to Villa tonight will not save the country. It's important, and if I was in England, I would do it, but it's not going to save the country. The only way we can save the country is if we have political solution. I want to show you how radicalized these people are, and then I'm going to show you how duplicitous and how they use Takir against the media.
Resistance, the armed resistance to Israel, those to ourselves, but for the armed resistance to Israel, those within Palestine and those from Yemen, Lebanon, Iran, and citizens of all countries of the world, Muslims and non-Muslims, who have paid and continue to pay the ultimate price for their armed resistance to the Zionist entity. May they succeed.
Now, if you see the guy that's directly behind this guy is an Islamist. This guy talking about the Zionist entity, talking about the Intifada, this guy is an Islamist. The guy behind him is the same guy that's standing at the Villa ground with the Chuckle brothers, with the wannabe jihadi people. So this is a big problem. This is a big problem.
Long live the Intifada! Long live the armed resistance!
Think about that, what he's saying. Long live the Intifada, long live the armed resistance. When he's talking about the armed resistance, he's talking about Hamas, he's talking about Hezbollah, he's talking about any other terrorist groups. This man should be arrested. Without, is he just on the right side of the law? I don't know. If I said long live, and named a loyalist paramilitary group, or long live the loyalist resistance, or long live some obscure patriot group that's wanting to cause all sorts of havoc. If I said that, I would be arrested, and quite rightly so. Okay? But this man, as far as I know, he's a lawyer. As far as I know, he's a lawyer. I'll look into him more and come back to you on that.
We are gathered here to unite in our call for a military intervention to stop the genocide and to dismantle the apartheid state of Israel and its illegal occupation of Palestine. This evening you will hear from Palestinian and non-Palestinian allies, all of them with a profound knowledge, experience and insight of resistance to the Zionist settler colonial occupation of Palestine. All of us united in the call for military intervention. We ask that you listen carefully to each speaker with an open heart and with an open mind, and participate when the open floor comes for feedback and questions afterwards. Our vision for this event is that you will leave not only feeling convinced that military intervention against Israel is the right and legal way forward, but that you also recognize your own power, your own agency to make it happen.
I mean, in a way, I find that quite amusing. Military intervention against Israel. Well, listen, fella, look how that turned out. When they're talking about military intervention, he's talking about Hezbollah, he's talking about the Houthis, he's talking about Iran, he's probably talking about Turkey. Well, it's probably not a good idea, as most countries have found out, including Nazi Germany. It's not a good idea to try and annihilate the Jews, because, I'm going to be honest with you, the truth is, if you're fighting against Israel, you're fighting against the God of the Bible. That's what the Bible says. Yes, my friend. Yes, I'd like to talk to you as well. I don't know how we do it. I tell you what, the best way to do it, if you go into X, right, find my channel on X. If you go into X and look for Richard Inman, you'll see my channel. It's got a picture of me, I think, on it, and you'll see all this sort of rhetoric on it. And then DM me through X if you're on X, Laser Essex, because I take it you're an Indian lady or gentleman with the Indian flag there. I do want to talk to you, because I would love to get people from an Indian background who know what's going on with jihad, who have had to put up with this since what I think about 800, 900 AD, whenever the Mughals or whoever it was started storming through India. So yeah, Laser Essex, please do this, mate. Please get in touch with me. I don't know if you're a lady or a gentleman, but please certainly get in touch, because I'd like to talk to you. Okay. I'm going to have to quickly go on to the next video. Now, this next video. Okay. This next video is something that really annoys me, because what it is, it's basically, by the way, guys, we've got more people watching this morning than I had watching last night. So I don't know what was going on YouTube last night. There must have been the rock stars must have been out last night, but share this everywhere, because I want these. I'm going to try my best to do these every morning. Now, again, I'm not making any money out of this, despite what all the haters say and all the people that call me a grifter and, all those scummy people. But this is my duty this is my bit of the fight at the minute. Again, it's difficult for me to get to England for a lot of different reasons. This is my fight, and this is the way I'm fighting the battle at the minute. And I would love to be in England, to be honest with you. I was going to come across from this And then when I heard the Maccabee team weren't coming, I didn't bother booking any flights. I didn't organize anything. But I would love to be in Birmingham tonight. And again, if you're going to Birmingham, I encourage you, if you're going to go peacefully. I would be going, and I'd be going peacefully. I've never thrown a punch in the whole 8 years that I've been doing this movement. I'm not anything to do with the movement. I've done a bit in sparring and all that sort of stuff, but I've never thrown a punch. And I think it's the idea of grace and mercy is that idea that we are capable of defending ourselves, but we do everything we can to live at peace with everybody. Yeah, totally agree. And guys, listen, it's really important. It's really important. Turn the tables. When tables turn, IDF will be coming to UK alongside. You know what? I tell you what. This crazy thing is, I don't think that's too far from the truth. Okay, do I need to tell you what? Whatever your name is on X, how can we do this? I'll tell you what to do, guys, right? If you're finding it difficult to get in touch with me, X is the easiest way. I am going to look at the email thing from UK Freedom Movement. I'll try and do it today. I've got so much going on with my business and with trying to keep that afloat, and then other stuff that's going on. But I'll try and get on this because I do want to talk to people that want to talk to me. Because obviously, again, it's all right me doing this and us having chats in the chat, but I do want to talk to people. Let me play this video.
Can't be anti-Semitic. Did you know that? Because being labeled anti-Semitism.
Well, explain to me why.
As Muslims, we can't be anti-Semitic. Did you know that? Because
Now, this lunatic, this guy's a lawyer. This scumbag, and I'm going to call him a scumbag. I might put the picture in later on. I've got a picture of this guy with one of the, and I'm not implying anything by this, but all I'm saying is a statement of fact that this guy is standing in a photograph with one of the chief suspects from the first 2 or 3 Rape of Britain films that we made. Okay, this guy here, standing next to him. Okay, and I believe Ayub Khan's in the same photograph. Again, I can share the photograph and people can confirm that if they want. But when he's talking about Israel, by the way, one of the people that used to work in his office was also featured in Rape of Britain 2, I think, 1 or 2. A guy called Charlie Khan. Do you remember the guy that Tommy doorstepped, I think, at KFC or Burger King? Anyway, this guy's saying that you can't be anti-Semitic and be a Muslim. Well, let's remember about the Battle of the Trench, where Muhammad rounded up either 600 or 900 Jewish males. If they had pubic hair, they were beheaded. That's pretty anti-Semitic in my book. And let's have a little look at a few bits and pieces of what the Quran says about the Jews. Surah 9, verse 30. Because according to the Quran, which again, this is not true, by the way. In other words, the Quran is in error here. The Jews call Yuseh or Ezra a son of Allah. That's not correct. They don't call Ezra a son of God, as in that he's part of the deity, he's part of the Godhead. They don't do that because Jews are monotheists. They're not Trinitarian. Christians are Trinitarian. Jews aren't. The Jews call Yuseh a son of Allah, and the Christians call Christ the son of Allah. Well, no, we don't call him the son of Allah. We call him the son of God, because I don't believe, even though Allah is the name used for God by some Arabs, I think they should change that and call God by his proper name, Jehovah. The Jews call Yuseh a son of Allah, and the Christians call Christ the son of Allah. That is a saying from their mouth. In this, they but intimate what the unbelievers of old used to say: Allah's curse be on them. How they are deluded away from the truth. That is straight out of the Quran. And yet, this guy's saying, oh, no, we don't hate the Jews. Well, I'd say you probably do. If Allah hates them, you probably do too. Allah's curse be on them. Surah 7, verse 138. Jews were calf worshippers. We took the children of Israel with safety across the sea. Now, this is part of the doctrine where, as Brian in London was saying last night, Muslims believe that Moses was a Muslim. So this is how they do this. I mean, this is crazy, right? So Muslims believe that Moses was a Muslim. I mean, it's beyond ridiculous. Moses was a Muslim, and when he led the children of Israel into the promised land, he was leading Muslims into the promised land. That's how they believe that they have a right to Israel, despite the fact that that lunatic, raping, murdering, pedophile goat herd was not even a twinkle in his great granddaddy's eye, and didn't come on the scene until the sixth or seventh century, whenever it was. 2,000 years. 2,000 years? Yeah, probably about 2,000 years after the Jews entered the promised land, or not far away from that. Not far away from that. And this verse says, they came upon a people devoted entirely to some idol they had. They said, "O Moses, fashion for us a god like unto the gods they have." And he said, "Surely you're a people without knowledge." So there you go. There's a differentiation being made between Moses and the children of Israel. And of course, they're talking about when Moses went up the mountain and to meet with God, and he came down and found the people involved in idolatry. So there's massive, and there's loads of others. I mean, there's literally, this book is a book by Sam Solomon called Al-Yahud, Eternal Islamic Enmity and the Jews. Now, Sam Solomon wasn't some frothing at the mouth Islamophobe like me and Tommy are described as. No, Sam Solomon was a Sharia judge who became a Christian. Okay, so Sam knew, and it's very, very sadly, Sam's recently passed away. I think there was a memorial for him this week. I missed it. Sam was a man of God, a Christian, but he was a Sharia judge. He knew the Quran inside out. You'd ask him about something, and he would come out with the Hadith or the Quranic verse just straight out of the top of his head. Incredible man. Incredible man. Okay, guys. These Islamists are completely deluded. Trouble is people are listening and believing that absolute crap. Absolutely. We must stand on the right side and stand with our patriots 100%. If you're not standing with the patriots, I don't know why you'd be following me if you weren't standing with patriots. Share this with your Islamist friends.
Because
no offense, not you, but a lot of your Muslim friends, I think.
Our prophet was a Semitic.
So you're telling me that Muslims cannot be anti-Semitic, that it's part of your sacred creed?
Muslims cannot be against any religion. We are taught to coexist with peace and harmony with every religion.
Well, it's not really working out, is it? Particularly, shall we say, in Gaza.
Why not?
Well, the Muslims who invaded Israel on October the 7th a couple of years ago, were they sticking to your creed of you must live in harmony, you must not be anti-Israel? Well, how do they fit into what you're telling me about Muslims?
What about the children?
No, tell me that.
Those
Hamas thugs who massacred.
What about the 1948?
Okay, yeah, but never mind what about it. You just told me that it's sacred.
Now then, do you want to talk about history?
No, I want to talk about October the 7th. I want to talk about October. Are you going to answer my question? You can't answer my question. You just told me that it's sacred to Muslims that they cannot be anti-Semitic. What would you describe those Hamas Muslims who invaded?
What would you describe as 1948?
Well, no. Why are you going to answer my question? Are you going to answer my question?
Those people,
well, they're not exactly being
people from their homes.
Well, the peace and harmony that you talk about wasn't exactly in evidence, was it? On October the 7th.
1948, there was no evidence of people being displaced from their homes.
Do you want to go back further? 1848, 1748?
There's no evidence of that.
And again, when an Islamist talks about 1948, if anyone knows the history, after the First World War, Britain signed the Balfour Declaration, which basically gave the I think it was called the Jewish Mandate, which basically, the Palestine Mandate, which basically gave the whole of Jordan Transjordan, as it was called then, and the land that Israel's on to the Jewish people. And then people like Churchill and people like Lawrence of Arabia lobbied, and they all backtracked, and they stopped Jews returning to the land right the way up until and through the Second World War, excuse me. And of course, that led to way more people being killed in the Holocaust than should have been killed. If the Jews had been allowed to go to their land, the Holocaust would have been a lot less severe, but they weren't allowed to. And Zionism was a Christian and Jewish concept from the mid 1800s. There were Christians from the Puritan times that were saying the Jews are God's special people and they need to be able to go back to the land. So it is a totally Protestant Christian project from the days of Oliver Cromwell. It's an English Protestant project to establish a Jewish state, and of course it's a Jewish project. So there are Christian Zionists and there are Jewish Zionists. In 1948, after the Holocaust, and again, when I was in the military, there were people still talking about the King David Hotel and what Jewish terrorists did to the British Army. I mean, that's the truth. They were terrorists. They murdered people, and I don't think there's ever any place for that. So in 1948, after again another period of upheaval and trouble, after the Second World War, after the Holocaust, I think it was the United Nations, I think it was the early United Nations, announced the creation of the State of Israel. And what happened? When that happened, the Arab armies simultaneously attacked Israel, and Israel had hardly any weapons. How it survived is pretty much a miracle, but it survived. And I think even then it was getting some help from possibly from communist countries. Could be wrong in that. I need to check that. But I think at the very early stages, I think Israel got some help from communist countries. Then, of course, later on, the Americans came and helped. And the British there's always been a bit of a double-mindedness in the British establishment about Israel. But at security levels, there's a massive cooperation since the rise of Islamism between the Israeli Defense Forces and the British. And as far as I remember, in the early 1980s, when it was very difficult for the British to control what was happening in Northern Ireland, they got a lot of advice from Mossad and from the Israeli security apparatus. The British did. So it's a very complex history. I hope I'm doing it justice. Again, if anyone knows more than me, let me know in the comments. But it's something I've studied on and off for many years. I've always been a Zionist, even before I was a Christian. I've just always felt morally, because of the Holocaust and because of the way Jewish people have been treated for millennia, they deserve their homeland. And God promised to the homeland. When I became a Christian, I realized that the Bible is very clear that God promised the homeland. I'm not making this about Israel, because it's not about Israel today. It's about Birmingham and these nutcases. But we've got to put it all into context and see that there is a right and wrong. And in my opinion, if you're on the side of Israel having the right to exist as a nation, then you're on the right side of history. That's just my opinion. And I think I can back that up by the facts.
Yeah. So do you defend October the 7th then?
So are you telling me there's no evidence?
Do you
of what
defend October the? Tell me about October the 7th. What are your views on it?
What do you want me to tell you about October
Ahmed,
7th?
what are your views on October the 7th? What do you think?
October 7th was a terrible attack.
Okay. And didn't really demonstrate that sacred tenet.
Very, very carefully chose his words there. And he knew he was on the ropes, because I would say this guy, well, who knows? Who knows what's in his heart? But I would say this guy wasn't shedding too many tears for Jews on October the 8th. That's just my gut feeling. Could be wrong. That's why the patriots, and again, I understand why some people are saying in the comments that nobody should go tonight. I understand that. I get that. I believe we should always preserve the right to peacefully protest, and it's the police's job to keep the peace, right? But I also believe that we have to be extremely careful. This is why Tommy needs to call out. Well, listen, Laser Essex News, I'm going to tell you something, mate. Tommy 100% 100% calls out anti-Semitism in his ranks, and always has. Always has. Okay. When it comes to ideology, you cannot divide what Tommy believes and what I believe, and especially now he's coming around to Christianity. I want to see Tommy fully, walking with the Lord and fully biblical. I think he's on that road. He's getting there, which is great, and we need to pray for that. We need to pray that Tommy gets fully in. I mean, he's having encounters with Jesus, and we all know what it's like when you first come to Christianity, and even right the way through, it's a battle, because the battle's in your own heart between being pulled this way by people that don't have your best interests at heart and God, who does have your best interests at heart. And I've lost that battle on many occasions. It's caused me massive problems. And my prayer for Tommy is that he fully gets in. I believe God's doing an amazing work in his life. And, if Tommy absolutely fully commits to Christ, it would change the movement and change the country. Because without a doubt, Tommy's the most influential man in this country. And like Brian said last night, probably Europe. And again, we've got to do this in a Christian way. I believe Christians should be running this movement. Absolutely Christians. And I want to see Tommy as a Bible-believing, Spirit-filled, born-again Christian in the driving seat in this country. Because and I want to see Ben Habib like that as well. I want to see Ben Habib, really committed to Christ. Now, that's my personal opinion. I can't impose my religion on anybody. I don't want to impose it on anybody. But when we're up against these people, we're fighting a spiritual battle, and we need God on our side. And people will be thinking Richard's gone nuts about this religion thing. I've always been nuts about it. I'm just speaking about it more. I'm just articulating it more. Yeah. Lord, have mercy on him, on those two. Spread your light, sheath in thy full and true heavenly armor. Keep them illuminated. Allow them to shine in it. Absolutely. Now, so this guy's just denied being anti-Semitic. I want to play you another video by one of these clowns. The same guy, okay?
In the Israeli army, if they live there, it's the law. If they don't do it, anyone over the age of 18 has to serve in the Israeli army if they live there. It's the law. If they don't do it, then they can go to prison for this. Which means that the IDF players that are coming to Birmingham, that are coming to Aston Villa, have in their lifetimes, if they're over 18, which most of them are, have served in the IDF, have been complicit in the genocide, have been part of this occupying army, because that's why I call them the Israeli occupation forces. So we can't have these people in Birmingham, can we? We can't have them in Aston, can we? It just doesn't make sense. They need to be banned from football. They need to be banned from all competitions, and FIFA needs to intervene.
Now, that is what he's saying there completely undermines what he said on the interview with Kevin, okay? Because when he was talking to Kevin O'Sullivan, he's saying, "Oh, we're not allowed to be anti-Semitic." What he's saying there in that interview, guys, keep sharing this. We've got some good viewing figures this morning. We've got 587. I'm not sure what's happening with this. Can everyone let me know what channels you're watching it on? I want everybody, if possible, getting across onto the Counter Media channel, because obviously you're on Counter Media, you can do super chats, we can get the advertising revenue. I want Counter Media to have 100,000 subscribers. I was going to say by Christmas. That's a month away, so that's a bit unrealistic, but I want it to have 100,000 subscribers as quickly as we possibly can, because again, it's really important that we get those subscribers. Reference Shohab. Shohab's, as you know, if anyone watches my channel, Shohab's been on the channel numerous times. He's a very good friend of mine. Shohab is exactly the sort of Pakistani Muslim that we want in this country. And we all have I'm sure we all have friends that are Muslims who are absolutely sound as a pound. Again, I won't go and eat from any of the takeaways anymore because I won't eat halal food, but I still get my hair cut in the Turkish barber because the guy's a good guy. He's very anglicized. He's very westernized. He's married a Western lady. He's children over here. So I am not some swivel-eyed bigot that has nothing to do with Muslims. But what I am against is what I'm absolutely against is Islamists. Okay, and that's what we've got to be against. I'm going to play you possibly one or two. I want to try and play probably 2 more videos or 3. So we're probably going to go till about 5 past 10 past 8. I hope that's okay for everyone. I've got to do a school run as well, so I'm going to have to shoot soon. But I want to play this one. This is a very sinister video. This is the same guy that said yesterday, do you remember I played the video yesterday? I'll maybe play it again today, where the guy was saying, don't bring your guns and your knives. This is the same guy. He's sitting with Mozambique, and Mozambique is an Islamist. And there's something about Mozambique and MI5. I'm not sure. Go and Google it. But so we've got Mozambique and this other guy, right? And I'm going to play this video.
You think they're not here? Of course they are. They never left. They've just got multi-million-pound businesses. They set up political parties. Look, it's very simple. If I'm here with these strong views and with this passion that I have, do you think they're not here? Of course they are. They never left. They've just got multi-million-pound businesses. They set up political.
By the way, guys, he's talking about us, and he lies here. He lies. I've lived in Northern Ireland since 1987. I know I say it almost every video, but it's just to let you know I'm embedded in this community. I know a lot of people on all sides of this community, but let's hear what he says about Northern Ireland. It's very interesting. He's a liar, but also these guys are Islamists. These guys are Islamists, and these guys are the influencers. This guy is some sort of tribal elder in the community, right? Extremely dangerous people, extremely dangerous, and they're calling it on.
Parties. They've got international funding. They have their military wings. They have their training grounds. A lot of them have been going over to Ireland with the Unionists and fighting and learning over there. You know, they've been going.
That is a complete lie. That has not happened. Believe you me, if that had happened, I think I'm plugged in enough. And again, I've never been involved in any paramilitary group or anything like that in Northern Ireland. I've always steered away from that. Again, I'm a Christian. I've never gone down that road. But I've got a lot of friends that did go down that road. I'm not glorifying what they did. I'm not going to comment on what people did. But I've got a lot of friends that were involved in that life 30 years ago. They're just normal people now. They don't do that anymore. But I can guarantee you that there has not been people coming to Northern Ireland and training. It is the most ridiculous thing. And if they did, the police in Northern Ireland will be all over it like a rash, believe you me, and the security services. It's just it's another one of their lies. And what's dangerous about this is what they're trying to do is stir up their young men and create a bogeyman that doesn't exist. And this is where we've got to be very careful not to walk into their trap tonight. And that's why I wish I was there, because I do. When I'm at a demo, I do anything I can to stop violence breaking out. And anybody that knows me knows that true. I put myself in harm's way and I've got harmed by doing this. So I'm not a keyboard warrior. All those scumbags that accused me of grifting the other night and Paul Thorpe, they don't know what I've done in this movement, right? And what I've done to push this agenda and to push this in the right direction. And people would be well counseled to remember what I've done in this movement, okay? But the reality is, if I was there, I'd be making sure that peace had primacy tonight, because if we get this wrong as patriots, it's going to be a disaster. I'm not worried about, fighting in the streets and all that sort of stuff. But the way that, in other words, I'm not scared of that. But what worries me is the way it would destroy the Unite the Kingdom movement, and by default also tarnish. It wouldn't destroy Advance, but also tarnish Advance. If we get anything wrong here, because Ben has put his neck on the line for our movement and for Tommy, if we get this wrong in any way, shape or form, and that's why I'm counseling very, very strongly for us on our side to be very careful of the rhetoric we use. And you know what I'm talking about, and you know who I'm talking about. People that just get very hot-headed. This is not a place anymore for little boys. This is a place for serious men that know what needs to be done. We have a plan. The plan is Unite the Kingdom. The plan is Advance UK. The plan is Christianity. The plan is rebuilding our community and our cultures. It's none of our business what these scumbags do. We should really let the police deal with it. But again, we have a right to peacefully protest against them, but we do not have a right to get violent. So we must not see any violence on the streets between patriots and Muslims, because it will be so damaging to our cause. When we get power, then we will deal with the Islamists, and we will deal with them. The Islamists will be dealt with when our movement gets power in this country. They will be deported. They will be imprisoned. They will be surveilled. They will be curtailed. They will have it. They will live in a very, very cold house for Islamists, for jihadists. There'll be no place for them in our country, just like the UAE have done, just like Saudi are doing. Listen to what this guy says.
Into Eastern Europe to learn weaponry and all this sort of stuff. They are prepared and armed and everything. They've got full support. It's there now. They're here now, today, right now. They're in your face. Elon Musk did a Sieg Heil in front of the whole world.
That's a lie, complete lie.
Which is saying, middle finger to you all, we are here and we are coming and we're going to annihilate you.
Well, he's absolutely right. We are here and we are coming. We're coming. And if we get power, the Islamists will be gone. Simple. If we gain power, not Muslims, not your good, not your nice, decent, not your nice, decent Muslims, but the Islamists need to go. Well, we've got to get him in at the next election, Linda. We've got to win the next election. That's why there's so much at stake here. That's why I'm so passionate that we've got to keep everything. We've got to keep everything peaceful. There should be mega prisons built for them. People like this man have no place in my country. No place in my country because they have not changed. He's not hiding what he is. Fair play to him. He's actually being honest about what he is.
Only what you wanted was a Roman salute. It was a Sieg Heil. You know what a Sieg Heil is? It's what the Nazis do. Yeah, he did.
There's so much irony in that than him calling somebody who stands for Israel, i.e. Elon Musk, and was absolutely appalled by what happened on October the 7th, 2023, is calling a Nazi, calling somebody who supports Israel a Nazi. You couldn't make it up.
On international, worldwide, hundreds of millions of people saw that. It was a signal. We are in power now. You're emboldened. Rise up, and let's teach these. Let's get rid of all of these people, these groomers, and these Asians and these immigrants and all these. Let's get rid of them. And there's nothing new. You know one thing. If you, and this comes from Islam. If you read the Quran, I don't mean just like this, up and down. If you read the Quran,
yeah, we do.
In the translation, and you read
total
the
irony, total irony. I mean,
with
it's
the ulama,
crazy.
And you listen to Islamic knowledge.
Some good views this morning, guys. 631 people watching. That's great, but we need to keep sharing these videos, guys.
Clearly in the Quran tells us
they are the new Nazis,
and not to take them as your friends and protectors. So what?
Now, do you hear what you're saying there? Not to take them as your friends and protectors. That is about anybody that's not a Muslim. Now, he's been very careful what he says, but that is straight from the Quran, where it says, have no friends with them. They're the worst of creatures, etc., etc. This is the problem. This is the problem. Well, Islam always was Nazi Islam. They've just been true to what the book says, unfortunately. Exactly. That's the whole point. They're trying to make themselves look like good guys.
Why? Is because we as Muslims have let our guard down.
Right. So that's the last time. There's another video here. I showed it yesterday, so I'm not going to show you. But it was the same guy when he was saying, "Don't bring your guns and your knives." That's the same guy. Shahid Butt. He was saying in the video yesterday, don't bring your guns and knives. I want to play a video by Josh Howie. Now, I don't agree with everything Josh Howie says. He's on GB News. He's a bit, I think he's come from a kind of pretty wet left-wing background. But fair play to him. Josh Howie is going to the match tonight to stand up for freedom of assembly and to stand up for the right of Jews. And look at, when you see Josh Howie, look, I'm just going to play the video. And what I want to say to you, when you're watching this video of Josh Howie, right? Again, I don't agree with everything that Josh Howie always says, but when you're watching this video, right, what I want to ask you is, who would you rather have in the country? All the people, if there's anyone in my comments that's still a bit, that you're maybe not quite sure about all this stuff, when me and Tommy are talking about Israel, and when I've been talking about Israel for years and supporting them for years. If you're not sure, just ask yourself this question. Who would you rather have in the country? Shahid Butt, Ahmed Yaqub, whatever Afsar, whatever his name is, that thinks curry's the best thing in the world and's come here not to take part but to take over. All these retards, would you rather have them in the country or people like Josh Howie? And I know my answer to that. I think it's very simple.
It's actually, believe it or not, a very small part. My name's Josh. This is my board game collection. It's actually, believe it or not, a very small part of it. Quite scary. The reason I'm showing it to you is it's the easiest way to illustrate that I'm not really into football. But tomorrow, on Thursday, I am going to go to Aston Villa ground in Birmingham. And I'm going to go because the safety advisory group, in conjunction with the police, banned any Maccabi Tel Aviv away fans from going. And they did it for public safety. Now, this has been portrayed by the kind of far left anti-Semitic cranks and the Islamists as something to do with the threat of violence from the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans, even though in the last, I think, 10 matches across Europe, there hasn't been any instance. This relates to an incident last year where in Amsterdam, where Ajax, and I know that's not how you pronounce it, but I don't know how you are meant to pronounce it, when they were playing them, there was a pogrom led by local Arabs, had nothing to do with football, nothing to do with Ajax fans, none of them were part of this, and they hunted down the Israeli fans, and they hunted down just any Jews and beat them up. So that's really why there has been this ban on the Maccabi Tel Aviv players, because fears for their safety. And in the end, the Maccabi Tel Aviv club has decided to actually turn down any tickets anyway for exactly that reason. Yet, even though there are no Israeli fans, aka Jewish fans, going along, still the sectarians and the Islamists are gathering tomorrow. And making that area, that part of the city, a de facto no-go zone for Jews. Now, there was the Board of Deputies, British Jews, they tried to sort out some tickets for British fans of the team to go. That hasn't happened. They would have just been bussed in and bussed out. That has not happened. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go. A few other Jewish people are going to go. A few allies are going to go. And as a sign of solidarity. And really, this is open to anybody, to Jews, Christians, Muslims, anybody who really doesn't think that this is how our country should be run, that it should be run in fear of a mob. If I'm honest, I am a little bit scared. My wife is scared. I've had very concerned phone calls from friends and family about me going. But I've been assured that the police are going to be very much present, and that's appreciated. It's sad that it's necessary. I've seen some insane videos from like these Islamists saying, like, don't bring your guns. You're like, what is going on? This is crazy. But this is open to anybody, to Villa fans, to anybody who wants to come along. And I guess I'll support Maccabi Tel Aviv. It's much of a muchness, but I guess they don't have any support there now. So and we're going to be meeting at 6 o'clock at Witton Station. The police are going to be there. Then they're going to escort us down to the away side of the ground, and maybe there'll be some speeches, and then it's going to finish about 7:30. Give time for any Aston Villa fans to make their way to their seats. And this is for anybody who's into football. I know this really doesn't have anything to do with football. This is a show of force from a mob, and like I said, I think that's a very dangerous precedent for this country to be heading in, and I think they will only embolden them further if people don't take a stand and say, you know, enough is enough. And I don't want to. I was, believe it or not, 24 hours ago, I was in Poland. I was visiting Auschwitz, Birkenau, and I saw the results of what happened. That was the end point of years of dehumanization of Jews and other ethnicities as well. And that's what's been going on here. That's the rhetoric that is being used, the code of Zionists or whoever. It's Jews they're talking about. And I'm a British Jew. I'm proud of being British. I'm proud of being Jewish. And I am going to go because it's time to take a stand, a peaceful stand, of course, but to be there and to stand up to bullies. And hopefully you'll join us.
Just realized I was muted. He's not a guy that is going there for trouble tonight. He's a Jewish man who's going there because he can see another Holocaust on the way. That's why he's going there. By the way, just for Ditdat and Laser 599, I just tried to DM you, right? And it wouldn't let me DM you. I can show, I'm not sharing the screen, but for some reason it's not playing ball, okay? I've just followed you. If you could follow me back on Twitter. And the same for Ditdat. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try tonight. I will have an email address, okay? I'll put it in the chat tonight that anybody that wants to get in touch with me can use. Because one of the things I do want to do, and I'm going to do this over the next few weeks and months. I'm not muted anymore. I think I've come back, haven't I? One of the things I'm going to do over the next few weeks and months, I want to try and get army veterans, British Army veterans who are Christians, and get involved with praying with British Army vets that are actually born again Christians as well, right? Because I think, again, what we need is godly leaders. Am I still muted, guys? Am I still muted? Okay, I'm back. Thanks, guys. So I want to get in touch with people, and I want to build a little prayer group of ex-army Christians, okay? And there's a very specific reason for that, because most guys that have been in the military will have the same mindset, but if you're Christians, it's a sanctified mindset. In other words, we're not scared of fighting, but we know that we're in a spiritual battle. We know we're in a spiritual war. Now, if you're not a Christian, there'll be other stuff I'm doing as well, but that's one of the things I really want to do. A new model army, you better believe it. We'll all have our little Geneva Bibles. I think that's what the New Model Army all got, a Geneva New Testament. So that's what we're talking about, guys. Guys, I'm going to have to shoot off. There was other stuff I wanted to play. I'm going to do another video tonight, because what I want to do tonight is I might even go live. I might even go live tonight when it all starts. So I don't know, depending on how things pan out during the day. I am going to do a stream later on. It'll either be 6, 7 or 7:30. Because what I want to do is try and bring you live streams from what's actually happening in Birmingham and give my commentary on it. Jenny, it is a sad day, you know. It's a really sad day. I've lived in this, you know, and a lot of the guys on my chat are from Northern Ireland. A lot of them come down to our demo, but it's a very sad day. Guys, 650 people watching. Share this everywhere. People need to see the truth. They need it. Look, I'm at the stage now where I'm not going to pull any punches. If I see someone on our side doing something that I consider to be wrong or going in the wrong direction, I will call it out. I'll not be falling out with them, but I will call it out. Okay. If I see people on the other side doing wrong, I'll call it out. Okay. And I'm not a moral arbiter. I'm a flawed, sinful man, just like everybody else in this chat. But I believe I've got an insight in what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. And that's what I'm pushing. That's the agenda I'm pushing at the minute. And again, critics, haters, not interested in you. If people are against me, that's up to them. I don't care. I'm going to say what I believe is prophetically happening in our country. And I'd ask everybody today to pray for what's happening in Birmingham, and to pray that God's victorious tonight, and that the gospel is victorious, and that no Christian goes there and lets themselves down and opens the floodgates for the state to persecute us and discredits our movement. That's what's very, very important. Guys, see you all soon. I'm going to end it there. Have a great day. Let's pray for peace in Birmingham tonight. See you soon, guys.